Yes.
What it's like working such a unappreciated role? Let's say when a player makes bad players, he gets bad Reddit press and people hate him. But when they make good plays, they get all the praise. When it's coach, you only take the bad ones. You don't get the praise, or very little from people who are very ingrained in the fabric of esports. Because many people don't understand exactly what you do. So when something goes right, nobody says, "Hey, this coach did very well to prepare the mentality of the team, provide scrims, like teach them well, develop strategies, draft all that." Nobody's gonna say that, or very few people. But if you lose and like people are, "Oh, this coach lost."
I think fans are in a very tough position. I think naturally when you're a fan of something, I think a big part of it is to form opinions and to splurt them out loud. Like I
Shout.
know that now it's like I'm watching the World Cup here in Sweden. I don't know jack shit about football, but I'm still eating burgers with my friends at the bars, and we are still shouting at the screen about how this player sucks ass and how he should have passed and how he should have aimed there. But in reality, we don't know shit about what's going on, and we only see snippets. It was the same as like now we saw the coach of the Saudi Arabian team. He was just shouting at his players, and then the translator just shouts at them too, and that's like a 2 minute snippet of all of the work that this man has put in with the Saudi Arabian team, and now he's judged based off of that simple soundbite. Oh, this guy is such a disciplinarian. He's such a strong coach. He's really pushing his players. But in reality, we don't know, and that's what I always keep in mind. It's like when people have an opinion of me or they have a criticism towards me, or they are unhappy with the draft or something like this, or this whole Yumi thing. So there's a lot of people out there that think that I'm not continuing Fnatic due to me opening Yumi, which is hilarious to see. But I also understand it because this is the the little information that the fans have access to is that they have the drafts, and then they have like these Fnatic Legend videos that Pete is producing and pushing out, and most often the parts that are being put in there from the work that I do is what is you know potentially not damaging to, of course, the team if it's made public, which is some huddle, some speech, blah blah blah, some words that I give in my player's direction. So this is what the fans see in isolation. It's like they see Yamato Cannon talking to his players, and then they see my drafts, and and then they think this is the only thing that Yamato Cannon does, and this is what he's being judged based off of. And this is maybe like 1% of everything that is done, right? All
Exactly.
the effort and the scrims and everything that is being put in, it's of course a much more essential part to it. Because I don't mind that it's unforgiving in that fact that that the fans are always at your throat. I don't mind at all. Like for me, I have very thick skin. The main thing I care about is the players and the success of the team, and I still looking at the conversation I still have with my past players. I still I feel heavily engaged in their careers. I still want them to do well, and this is where I find my joy. It's like when I see my players grow and I see them do better. This is where I find the reward. I not necessarily because I feel like that is because of me, more that I become invested in the people that they are. Because in my line of work, the I can become more and more effective depending on how well I know a person. And the more you know a person, the more you connect with this person because you need to in order to really have them open up to you and really show you their true honest self. And the reward comes from seeing my brothers, so to speak, do well and succeed. And everything else is just noise, like
I
what
like
the
that.
fans say, whatever is just noise. It's like I'm doing this for a reason, and I find those reasons always in my players, first and foremost within myself, and then secondary, in the team and in the colors that we wear, and the group and the dynamic that we build together.
I like that. You become invested in the players or people you work with. So Not so you become somewhat of their fan, or even a super fan at that case, because you really care whether they succeed or not after. And even if you did help or didn't, which you probably did in any case, like when people work together and converse, there is a bit of spillover of knowledge, mentality, and people grow together. And that's again the reason why we have that a little bit of a snowball effect. If people are working together, it tends to go better. And yeah, I think you have to have pretty much ironclad skin in order to be in that line of business. You have to be highly competitive, work hard. I think one funny thing you mentioned is that football analogy where most people are shouting at the screen, shouting at people, and I've seen that so many times in my life. Most people will have super strong opinions about their football teams, about how this player played that, how the coach did that, and they can all do better. But very, very few of them are actually like highly competitive in said game in football. And same is the exact same cases in League of Legends. How many people have opinions on the game without understanding like the technical side of the game, the business perspective of the game, the video game design perspective of the game? All of those things matter, and you're privy to very little information. And it's a natural human tendency to just be very adamant about your convictions, and you want to shout them out.
For sure. No, it's a very social experience to watch competition, and I believe this has been the case since forever. It's like probably like when they were watching the gladiators in ancient Rome, the viewers like, yeah, this guy he should have picked up the shield instead of the sword.
Yeah.
He should have done this, and it's probably like some guy that is like eating grapes or some shit, you know. In the stand. I think it's been a part of human culture for as long as possible. I just wanted to add on the topic of, you know, like I hate to take credit for progress of players, because the way I see it is every human being has potential, and the only thing that you are doing is helping them reach it faster. And
It
the
was
sad
all
reality.
within them the entire time.
Yes, yes. And the sad reality of it is that there is a lot of people out there that don't reach their full potential in their lifetime. They just don't have enough time in the way that they are working and living in their habits and their day to day. And that is like the very dark side of it. But for me, it's just you try to push people in the direction of fulfilling their potential, understanding the tools that they have accessible within their mind and their own body, and making them understand, you know, the things that are important around them in order for them to achieve what they want to achieve. And that is usually the main thing that bonds you together. And that is like the main work. That's why like I hate to take credit for anything, because in the end you're just helping someone in that direction of their own potential. And sometimes you are the difference maker, sometimes you are not. Sometimes, you know, you find the right way to convey something, and sometimes players just manage
You
to
just
figure
can't change
it out on,
sometimes.
on their
Sometimes
own.
no matter what you do, you can't change it. There are some things that you just can't impact that much. That's
I
also
believe that there's always a way. So I am an
so
optimist.
no Kobayashi Maru, no unwinnable scenario. You always
No,
feel like there's a way.
there's always a way. Like I think if you do, if you feel like it's impossible, it means that maybe you just haven't put too much time and thought into it.
I
Because
think that's a good it's a good analog to the thing we talked about earlier, where sometimes you need to have that hopeful optimism that you can do it, because just by the virtue of believing that you can do it, even though sometimes sad realities that you might not be able to, you would be less efficient if you didn't believe it yourself.
it's also with how our mind is wired. It is beneficial to be optimistic,
Yeah.
because
Even though
we are.
you can come across as naive sometimes and just foolish believing the system, if you work, you're gonna succeed in that. But if you don't believe that, then you will never succeed at anything.